Hello, welcome back to the Gramski Files. This is Fiber Day, and I want to tell you about a rather large project that I started working on in the early 2000s, but put aside because I was discouraged, so I didn't finish. But what it was for the John Jones Museum in Elmira fundraisers. I made these different wall hangings so that they could sell and raise money. But they were doing a fine job without me. So after auctioning off some, I just didn't do that anymore. But I figured, why not finish it for me? I did belong to the Arts of the Southern Finger Lakes and sold one. 1902 in blue. That was one of my favorite pieces. But the whole, I should tell you about John Jones first, because he's the one that inspired me to do this in the first place. He was a slave in Virginia that had worked his way up in the Underground Railroad to Elmira, New York, which is about 30 miles from here. And he was an industrious fellow. Worked very hard, he's a good man, he made good friends, but he also helped people on the Underground Railroad. He helped about 800 people through, and he had friends like the Langdons. Olivia Langdon married Mark Twain, so the Langdons were a famous family in this area, and also Thomas Beecher, who was a minister in this area. He was the brother of Harriet Beecher Stowe, who wrote Uncle Tom's Cabin. And, John Jones was also friends with Thomas, who helped him with the Underground Railroad. So, I was inspired to help them raise money for the John Jones Museum, which was his home that he had purchased. And they remade it into a museum, which is worthwhile visiting, by the way. And so, now I'm going to finish these for me. I cared very much about the stories that came through that era. This is C.J. Walker, Madam C.J. Walker. She was the first female millionaire in this country. And it didn't matter whether she was black or white. She was the first female millionaire business worker. And she didn't start out with a very good life. Her parents were from slavery. They were, they escaped slavery after the Civil War to raise their daughter, but they died when she was only 7 years old. By the time CJ was, she wasn't CJ then, she was Sarah. By the time she was 14 years old, she married. And she had a daughter, but by the time she was 20, she was a widow. Her husband had died. But she had a dream. There's a film, a very nice film on YouTube called $2 in a Dream, The Life of Madam C.J. Walker. And I encourage you to see it. It's an old film, and the people that are in that film actually knew this woman and had a lot of, wonderful things to say. She was a philanthropist, a wonderful person, and she did a lot for helping the people think, well, they can rise above too. And her business surrounded hair products and hair growth products and beauty salon products, soap, and whatever else. She had about 23 different products by the time she finished. And she married a man named C.J. Walker. So she was Madam C.J. Walker. And she did wonderful things that, we really should remember her. Not just because she made $1 million and built a beautiful mansion, but she's an inspiration to us all, black or white. We can raise above whatever hardships that we are in. I'm 67, and this is kind of a wild dream for me to be able to go back into the art world and make a book about these women that worked hard on their crafts and made beautiful things, whether they were going to make money from it or not. And come on, CJ, stand. So this series is called Dreaming in Swahili, and I called it that because the people in the late 1800s and early 1900s, they probably had mixed dreams of becoming C.J. Walker, or the dreams of what their lives would have been like in Africa. And this particular wall hanging is about being raised on a farm, and their mixed dreams. But most of the people would have been living on a farm in the late 1800s and 1900s. So I have a lot of farm imagery, in my dreams of Swahili. But I have a lot of wall hangings to complete. The reason this is fiber art is because I'm going to be doing a lot of stitching, crewel embroidery and whatever. I've added old, antique doilies and different pieces on here. I've added a lot of beads, but it does need the embroidery. I need to finish the embroidery. I like this one because it has a lot of mixed imagery of the dreams, and it has down here it has the chicken feathers and the leopards, and and it has the farm and the elephants. It also has her best friend's white gloves. I went to antique stores to get a lot of this, the old imagery pieces. And the cloth came from Joanne Fabrics. It was, and I loved these ladies, so I cut them out, and they're gonna be all decked out by the time I'm finished with their embroidery. This is one piece that's finished, and what I do is I put a border around them so that they become wall hangings. And as you can see, the antique fiber art that was on here, and the old photographs, I like to put that too, and the Victorian glove of that era. So this one's finished. This one's kind of wild, but I figured it can go on the back of a couch and be a nice conversation piece. But I have a lot of quilt work on it and embroidery, and I thought it would make a nice story. This is the people that could have lived during that time, but they're dreaming of these people and what their lives were like, then. I'll probably have a story for each one and put like a letter in for each story. So that's enough for today. This is all about fiber arts, and this is going to be a long project, but I'll be doing different kinds of fiber arts on Thursdays, whether it's cross stitch or designing our own cross stitch, or doing all sorts of mixed media fiber arts. So I just wanted to introduce you to what I'm working on right now. So I'll talk to you later. Have a good day. Bye-bye.